It's most my special notebook of my Scarlet notes, so I called it the Scarlet
You
book.
called your notes the Scarlet Book. Oh my
Yes.
lord. What the hell? Okay. Alright, guys, welcome to the first episode of the Grassy Surge Podcast. That's right, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Also, I actually hit record a couple seconds earlier. Just to throw you off so that you wouldn't feel too nervous to your first words. Okay.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
My first words are me talking about the Scarlet Book. Thanks.
Exactly. Okay. In all honesty, right? Both of us are terribly nervous for some reason. You know, we're YouTubers. We've been YouTubers for a couple years, and yet we couldn't hold back the fact that we were nervous. Like, okay. So, the Grassy Surge Podcast, right, is a podcast that's supposed to be about where we just discuss things going on in the sphere of Pokemon. It could even range out to Nintendo, other games, depending on who's hanging out with me. It'll be about, it might even be about anime. That's not something that Sceptile here will really know too much about, but maybe some other people. Hold on, maybe we'll try to get some guests at some point. Well, who knows? This is very early in development. So, yes, of course, as you might have already known by now, Sceptile720 is going to be kind of the co-host for this. This is mostly a podcast that'll be on my channel. However, he will be a regular. Simply because he is my best friend. I don't really see anyone else who could fill that role to fill the sounds of nothingness.
I'll take over. Hello, everyone. So if you don't know who I am Sceptile720. Been running a YouTube channel for about, 6 years now? Since 2017. As you all know, of course, very much into Pokemon. Never really have done a podcast series myself. Like, I've maybe done a couple things here and there, recordings and stuff, but, this is generally my first time coming on to an actual, recording and, just being in a chill vibe compared to just being in front of a camera and just talking the whole time. Like, hey guys, look at this! Oh god, I died! Stuff like that. That's especially for a Nuzlocke.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Absolute mockery of YouTubers worldwide. It's true,
Listen,
though.
it's the truth.
It's true,
it's
though.
The
truth. Absolutely. Oh man. Okay, so we have no idea what background is being used for this. I don't even know if I could use Spotify for this. I would absolutely love to be honest. But oh man, okay. My brain is scattered. This is not something you're gonna see very much in videos, but prepare for that to be all over the place in this. I am sorry if this episode has a lot of cuts, but we're just getting used to things, right? All right. Okay.
True.
I don't want to dilly-dally because I don't want this to go on for 4 hours. So, we actually have a point of contention that we wanted to mention for this podcast episode, the first episode specifically. Kind of like the episode where Sceptile is more of a guest than he is the co-host, but at the same time, that also makes me just as much of the guest as I am the co-host / host of this. So, basically, we planned on talking about just Scarlet and Violet as a whole, kind of like an overview, a review of the whole game, the whole Paldea region. Simply because from the time of recording this, episode 18 just came out on Sceptile's channel, like a couple hours ago.
Oh yeah.
So we just wanted to just cover the whole game, get our thoughts out there, and yeah. Now, if you guys end up enjoying this, I don't want to shill out or anything like that, but if you guys end up enjoying this, this will be an ongoing weekly thing. So starting from when this uploads, expect after the next 7 days, the next one should be uploaded. I don't know how many of these in advance we'll be doing, but we'll get that figured out. You just have to sit back and watch and enjoy. We're not going to use
more like listen to it. How are they going to watch it?
Man, okay, listen. I'm kind of my brain's just rolling. I'm just saying words. I'm not thinking about it, okay?
You gotta say they'll enjoy listening to it, not
Yeah,
watching it. This isn't something you
yeah.
want.
I don't even know what they're going to be looking at while they're listening to this. So fair enough. All right, we'll get all that figured out eventually. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Oh boy. So, first of all, fair warning. At the very least, for me, there's a very high chance I might say the wrong game when I'm talking about these titles because for some reason I like to say Sword and Shield instead of Scarlet and Violet sometimes because they both start with an S. I guess I don't know. It's weird.
Not all of them. Violet Lily has a V in it.
Yeah. Okay. So, oh man. Okay. So, first of all, Scarlet and Violet, like the reveal cycle for it, I want to mention that I went through the entire game like as blind as I could. I didn't know what the Starmobile was, even. I didn't know any of the characters. I only knew the images, barely even the types or the names of all the Pokemon. At first, I didn't even watch any of the trailers besides the second trailer. Like, there was the teaser and then the reveal. I didn't see anything after the reveal trailer. I only eventually saw the designs of the Pokemon through spoilers, and then eventually, like, okay, hey, Sceptile, show me the images, and then delete them afterwards. So he showed me what all the Pokemon looked like, didn't tell me their names, didn't give me the backstory, didn't give me the names or typings or anything like that. So I went through this game as blind as I could. It's the Pokemon game I've gone into like the most blind. And oh man, it was such a surreal experience, honestly. It made the game much better for me, honestly. I think I enjoyed the game more knowing less. But at the same time, it was frustrating keeping everything away. My YouTube algorithm is not the same sense.
As for me, with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I basically looked at every trailer. Honestly, with Pokemon games, you gotta have like a little bit of integrity with knowing something. Knowing nothing is nice. It really is for a lot of things, but I don't know. For me in Pokemon, I just like to see like new stuff before the game comes out. I don't want to see everything with the game, obviously. Like they made the same mistake with Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon, we basically had everything. Like we had a lot of information already going into the game. I mean, not like everything, but like pretty much almost the entire game revealed to us. And what I've actually liked with both the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet reveal cycle and the Sword and Shield reveal cycle is they once again pretty much hid the starters from us, which is something I can respect because, well, of course you show the first forms. That's how you get everybody hyped. But then not showing the final forms is kind of, a surreal experience. So when you finally see your finally evolved starter, it's phenomenal. And honestly, to see each trailer, go diving into, either the Pokemon, the gameplay, and stuff like that, it's always a treat to watch. It's just, like I said, they reveal too much. It just becomes like a tundra. But I think Scarlet and Violet did a great job in its reveal cycle in terms of showing us what the game was like, giving us enough detail to where we won't get 100% spoiled.
Honestly, I didn't know anything, but when I eventually found out what the starters evolved into, I actually got starter, and I mentioned this in your playthrough, but I actually got starter envy. I actually wish I picked Sprigatito because I absolutely love Florgatio and Meowscarada. Like probably more than most people end up liking it in comparison to the other two starters. But at the same time, Skeledirge wasn't so bad either. But I don't know. I kind of wish, like, going into this game, skipping all the trailers, knowing nothing, I kind of wish I still knew more in terms of the Pokemon.
Right.
Finding the Pokemon is most of what makes the game, right? Knowing the whole dex from the beginning is kind of damaging to your playthrough because there's no sense of discovery. That's one of the big aspects of Pokemon, the sense of discovery. And the people and places are not discovery enough in most cases. That's where the Pokemon's supposed to fill in those gaps. But if you were to know every Pokemon beforehand, that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing nothing also turned out to be bad. So I think after, in retrospect, I might actually just trust the company and just watch the trailers. I don't
from
know.
now on.
Yeah, I might. I might actually. Um, so I feel
Man, we
like I
have
didn't
something to
know
talk about
enough.
later. Yeah, just like how we know nothing about the DLC now.
Oh.
Can we go? Okay, you know what? Okay, we'll continue the review in just a second. It's time to go on a tangent, okay? It's tangent time. What in the world happened with the Pokemon Presents? Okay, let me put you in the preference. When this podcast is being recorded, this is the day of the February 27th. This is Pokemon Day. And we both, me and Gala, waked up early in the morning. I woke up like around 8:30, close to 8:30 in the morning. This guy woke up like 7, like probably 7, 6 o'clock in the morning for where he is. We both woke up early for this, and to see how disappointing the Pokemon Presents was, I mean, okay, fine. Sword and Shield DLC. Yeah, that's great. Fantastic. But nothing else was revealed at all. Okay, besides Pokemon Sleep and a couple other things. But I don't know. We were both speculating so much more for this. And while the DLC is, we don't have much information about it though. That's the problem. We don't know. We don't even have gameplay. Not even compared to like Sword and Shield, where in those DLC trailers we at least got a trailer, at least a little bit of gameplay. But with this, we have nothing. We only have like a couple images to go off of and a little bit of like CGI'd video. But that's it. Besides that, we know nothing else. The only other thing we know about is like some of the like two of the legendaries, including the new Paradox forms, and like a few of the Pokemon that are going to be a part 1, part 2. Which I'm still pissed that Metagross is being put into part 2 because he's my favorite. He's one of my favorite Pokemon, and his shiny is fantastic, and I like to shiny hunt him for every generation. But still, it was agonizing to see that. I was, meh. I was mad after the presents. I didn't say anything else on stream. I kept my cool when we did it on stream, but oh my gosh, afterwards I was pissed. I was completely, utterly pissed. And while I think the DLC is not going to be bad, I still think that it's just I don't know, something about it still just makes me a little tipsed off about that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and play devil's advocate
Hmm.
because I went ahead and watched some reactions to the direct as a whole. I watched the direct back a couple times as well, simply to get a more wider perspective. I tried to look at it in an objective sense. This direct seems to have been much better for the more generalized audience, the audience that cares more about Pokemon as a company as a whole.
Hmm.
Which is why actually a lot of people that reacted to it appreciated the TCG stuff as at the beginning, despite that kind of being something I kind of just ignored because I don't really
Yeah.
care about the TCG.
Oh.
Um,
Mhm.
as well as the trailers for the DLC wasn't actually as small as me and Septel said it was. It might not have been as small as I initially thought it was.
What do you mean by
Um,
that?
in the original Sword and Shield DLC trailer, I believe, other than a quick few scenes of what the areas were going to look like, we didn't really get anything else. Sure, we got less gameplay visuals this time around, but we got a lot more information in the first trailer than we did for Sword and Shield's first DLC trailer. We didn't even get the second part in that first trailer. We only got like a few, like the getup of the character and where they were going. That's it. If my memory serves me, this is not well researched. But that's what I believe is what happened. We got a lot more, especially in terms of Pokemon. We got so many new Pokemon in that presents. We got so many, so
Okay,
many.
I'll be fair on that. Yes, we did get a lot of Pokemon, including two that just got released
Uh huh.
with the new patch that just came out. So yeah, I can understand the more general audience enjoying the presents. I can understand that. That's 100% understandable. I don't know. It's just I understand that Game Freak is a company. Of course, companies have sometimes have to pace themselves. It's just I don't know. It just seemed like a lot more was going to come for this direct. I mean, with the Game Boy, like the minimum I was expecting was maybe to hear that Gen 1, 2, and 3 was going to be on the Switch because of the recent GBA and GB emulators coming to the Nintendo Switch Online. I mean, that kind of tipped me off a little bit. I don't know. I think I just got into the hype way too much, honestly, with this Presents.
Our expectations were definitely a bit too high.
Yeah, I think we were all a bit too high.
And that's one thing a friend of mine mentioned to me after the stream. And they mentioned, "Oh yeah, no, I enjoyed the TCG elements of that Presents, and I simply believe that you and Septile's view of what the direct was supposed to be, our expectations were set way too high. Although I genuinely believe that as main series fans, specifically fans that are more interested in what that main series has to offer, much more so than what the side games are. For example, neither of us play Unite. I used to, I don't anymore. Neither of us really play Cafe Remix, though Septel does sometimes.
I dabble.
Right. So the main attraction point we had was to the main series. And for me especially was to the sister series, one of the sister series, which is Mystery Dungeon. We were unfortunately, we were expecting more news on the main series side of things, and all we got was DLC confirmation. And at that, the DLC that was confirmed was far from what we thought the DLC was going to be about.
Right.
And I suppose to us in that specific mindset, it was disappointing.
I'm going to be honest with you for a second. When we did that, like I said, we had waked up early. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with that. I had only gotten like a few hours of sleep because I was editing episode 18 from 10 o'clock at night to almost 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just trying to get it done for today, for basically when it's released today. So I was kind of already tired already, just in general. Like my brain wasn't even woken up yet. So I maybe did actually probably react a little too hardly. I don't know. That was just that tangent that I made was just a few thoughts in my mind when it first happened. But now, reconsidering it for, I mean, it is just a Pokemon Day, to be fair. It's not like a big event like E3 or something like that, where it's supposed to show off everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
I think, honestly, I was saying, like, this is probably one of the worst Presents, but now that I'm starting to, calm down to the fact that, yeah, I kind of was a bit tired in the morning for that. I feel like I was a little, little over exempted with that. I'm still not happy with the price of the DLC though. That's a general thing though.
Yeah.
Like we've already gotten the price for DLC. Sword and Shield was $30 for Island of Armor and Crown Tundra, and now they're asking us $35 for this new DLC, which honestly they haven't shown me enough to get it yet. Like I'm not gonna buy it until I get more information. Honestly.
The price difference if it isn't massive. However, we know just next to nothing, so the price tag being higher currently has no justification. So
Right.
I think both of us at the very least is definitely going to wait until they do a second trailer where they actually show gameplay and stuff like that. Maybe around summer. We'll see what happens.
Right.
Oh, man.
All right. Side topic aside, I think we should get back on track here and get back to talking about Pokemon Scarlet.
Okay, so me and Septel had planned to play the game together as soon as we saw co-op mode. Like, because before that, on Pokemon Day, we had the teaser that shows Scarlet and Violet, and me and Septel have been playing Pokemon games together for like years. We've played Pokemon games together. In terms of like the style that we did it for his playthrough, we've done it in that style for years. Like
a few times. We've done it for at least.
Oh, we've done it a couple times for about like half the generations or more across the last like 6 years.
We did for Gen 4, Gen 5,
Yep,
Gen 6, and Gen 7.
Yeah. So about half. It's so much fun, and we wanted to show it to the world. And we were like, okay, Scarlet and Violet, one of the most mainstream games that's coming up to this date. And then it was just a fleeting idea, and then they revealed co-op mode, and we were like, okay, we can play the whole game together. We
Yeah.
are not passing this up. We are not. And then the whole reveal cycle happened. I stayed blind. He did not as much. Neither of us looked at leaks when we could.
Nope.
And then the games came out. Now, I'm not going to bring it up in this episode, but I had just moved states. I moved out of my parents' house and out on my own, moved in with Dr. Swablu, and the game came out like a couple days afterwards.
Oh
So
my gosh.
both, especially me, I was still busy unpacking, moving in, transferring all my stuff, getting all the adult stuff through, bleh. So I couldn't play the game. I had it, and I couldn't touch it for several days.
I actually have a quick story about this game in terms of getting it. I remember this. Oh my god, I hated how this happened. Let's bring this down. So I usually go to a GameStop to go pick up my pre-orders for Pokemon games. The day before, I'd asked or somebody in the store, like I'd asked, hey, when is there going to be a midnight release for this game tonight? Some guy, I don't know if he was an employee or not, said like, oh no, it's going to be an 8 a.m. release where you come at 8 a.m. and you'll get the game. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do that. Next day, I knew I was going to be going to another parent's house, my other parent's house. That's another story for another day. So I figured, well, I guess I'm gonna be heading out there, so I might as well do it. Get myself ready and whatever. So I go ahead. I get up. I go up to the GameStop before time, for 8 a.m. Woke up early that day. I wasn't happy about that, but nonetheless, when I had gotten there, actually, no, it wasn't an 8 a.m. release. It was a 9 a.m. release. I apologize. When I had gotten there, I was waiting out there for a little bit, just waiting for the thing. Another guy was there too. All of a sudden, the door opens. The guy comes out here, and he starts saying that we open at 10. I'm like, wait, but what about the special morning release of this game? It's like, oh no, we had a midnight release last night. You don't know how mad I got when I heard that. I was pissed that I missed out on getting the game so early at night. And I didn't scream, but inside me, I'm like, what in the hell just... Literally after that, I just went like, okay, you know what? I'll go get some breakfast after that. Then it just turned into me forgetting my wallet and then to get the game. Now, we were going to start recording this game the day of.
Yep.
But then the Nuzlocke happened. Your Nuzlocke happened.
Really? That was what delayed it.
What happened was you were playing with Swablu.
Yeah.
Dr. Swablu. You were starting up Scarlet and Violet, and you were going to think that you would be done by 9 o'clock the day of. Turns out you went a little later, and it was already late enough at night, so we didn't end up doing it that night.
Right. Okay.
So I'm basically... Gala played the first day. I missed the first day of playing the game.
Oh my lord, I forgot about that. Yeah.
So instead of starting that Friday, we actually started the next day.
Oh, that's what happened.
When we finally found a free chance on that Saturday after the release of Scarlet and Violet, we both sat down. I was on my computer, he was on his whatever else, and we started the playthrough then and there.
Yeah, okay. I remember that all wrong. Yeah, I was a mess. Like, I had just moved states. I guess now that I remember properly, I got thrown into a stream. The stream was great. But I'll get into that in a minute. And then we got started. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. And yeah, the start was interesting. Obviously, one thing that I don't know if people noticed or not, but in the first episode, I guess I technically knew everything up to a point.
Yeah, you did.
Because it was really rocky. The start of the playthrough was very, very rocky. Like, honestly, the whole playthrough was a mess. We'll explain that over time. So the start of the playthrough was very rocky. I knew everything up to the point where you leave the cave after saving Miraidon and Koraidon. After they save you. You save it, then they save you, kind of thing. I knew everything up to that point, because it was right after that point, when you were supposed to go to the lighthouse and meet Arvin, where me and Swablu had finished our first stream. So from there, episode, I believe, 2 and 3, and up to about, maybe 5?
Episode 1 and 2, we did basically everything you did. Starting episode 3, you didn't really know anything.
Yeah, from 3 till about 5 or 6, That was all my genuine reaction. And then somewhere in there, I ended up having to do another stream where we did one gym, one Titan, and some other stuff, right? But I mostly kept it to things I've already done. I had to like balance how much I was learning for the first time on stream versus in the playthrough recording, because I was trying to keep my reactions genuine for the most part. So I ended up doing Cloth on stream after we did it in the recording, but then I revealed the bug gym leader to myself before we ended up doing it in the playthrough, and then I ended up doing the bird titan and the dark type starfall before I ended up doing that in the playthrough. But everything else was done in the playthrough firsthand because the streams stopped happening. So the streams was a playthrough of my Scarlet copy, because I bought the double pack on release. I pre-ordered the double pack and got it on at my own midnight release. So I was playing Violet with the playthrough, and I played Scarlet on stream with Swellblue. And now those streams were actually a hardcore Nuzlocke, a blind hardcore Nuzlocke. It was awful, absolutely awful. We lost so poorly. We lost to Bombardier. I'm not. You don't even worry about trying to find those streams. It's not worth it. We lost to Bombardier, the Sky Titan, because technically by then we had lost our starter, our first few encounters. We only had like trash Pokemon we just picked up, but we kept our starter alive because it died to bullshit. So we just kind of like kept it going anyway. We like had three revives as a rule because we were playing blind, and made all these exceptions to the point where it was like, okay, we just white it out. That's it. We're done. We're done. It was also a soul link, by the way. That's why there was so much death, because when one person died, the other person dies too. So
yes.
And Swellblue had whited out. I didn't. I'm pretty sure. So we were like, okay, no, fuck this. We're done. That's it. Done. And I was like, okay, great. I could focus on the playthrough, and I did. It was great.
Right.
So, oh man, that was a mess. That was a mess and a half. And then right after that, I started my new job. Or sometime during that point, I started my new job.
Yes.
I had transferred from the same. I did a same company transfer from state to state. So I basically resumed what I was doing back in the other state. I work fast food. I'll explain that sometime. But basically, working fast food, you will know that you work like almost every day for about 8 hours a day full time. I was doing 40-hour work weeks. It was not so great. It was not great. So that limited how often I was able to record significantly. And on top of that, Sceptile's got college. So making that balance got so difficult.
No, it wasn't most of the time.
Really?
You gotta remember, when Scarlet Violet came out, I was like, it was in November.
Oh, it was right before your winter break, right?
Exactly.
Wait, no, your winter break wasn't until January.
No, it started in December.
It wasn't until like mid-December, right? Late December?
Yeah.
So, but that's still, we dealt with that for the first half of December, though, and all the rest of November, didn't we?
Pretty much. With the playthrough, what I was doing in December to make up for no Christmas special or anything, I was uploading 2 episodes a week.
Oh, yeah. Well, definitely should talk about that. We were trying to cram as much recording in as possible so that can get slowly uploaded in a consistent pace while I was at work or he was at college or vice versa, right? But eventually, we did like 4 episodes in one day. That was awful. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. Listen, right, from Septile's perspective, he was doing 2 episode uploads, right, a week. He was recording multiple episodes a day. It was awful. Because we wanted this to be done before the end of the year.
We did a 4 episode while I was in Brooklyn. We did a 4 episode binge, or like a 3 episode binge.
It was 4 episodes.
I was in bed. No, it was 4 episodes, but remember, episode 3 we put together.
Yeah. The episode 3 on YouTube is actually 2 parts we put into one. You probably noticed the cut if you watch the series, but yeah, it was 2
Well,
parts.
I actually put a disclaimer in the beginning of the video about that.
Oh, well, then never mind. Then you guys know that, or you don't.
Right.
But
Right. So when after that recording, so we basically had done episode 1, 2, 3, and originally 4, which was now episode 3.
yeah,
After I was done doing that, yeah, like I said, I was recording on my laptop, and unfortunately, when I'm at my, I'll just say it, father's place, I don't have a TV or anything to put my Switch on.
yeah.
So, basically what that meant was the only way to play the game and to look at it was to look at it through my laptop screen on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
I was straining my eyes and my head the entire time I was doing those recordings.
Yeah, that
It was not fun. I
I
was in bed right after the episode. I had a freaking headache. I had to just lay down after I was done. I was done after we finished the academy and started to get into the content. After that, I just said, you know what? Wait till I go back home and then we'll start.
I felt awful. I felt terrible after I realized just how much pain he was in afterwards. Oh man. Oh, but eventually we got through that, and sometime after that we took like a 2-week break. He was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
no. We're continuing this once I'm on break. So that whenever you're not at work, we can record."
Yeah.
And
Basically.
that worked out well. We
yeah.
actually wanted it to come out in January, which is, if you've seen it, I made this a total shiny video during the playthrough. We'll get to that. And in there, I put a disclaimer saying, expect a new video in January. And that didn't happen. All I did in January was start streaming. So
Yeah.
I felt so bad that I wasn't able to get my video out in January or February. I don't know if it's going to be in March. I'll to quickly tangent. I don't know if my video is coming out. This said video is actually supposed to be a compilation of my perspective of the whole playthrough. However, I might work on that as a background project. I don't know if that's what I want to do. I don't know if I want to make this compilation. If anything, I might upload my perspective of the fight, maybe some small little montage or something. I'll work out what I'll do. I've got other ideas. This is one of those. This podcast is one of those ideas. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. But yeah, so eventually we were able to get the recordings to be somewhat consistent. There were weeks where there were weeks in between where we kind of just had to do nothing because
Yeah, honestly, so January was kind of like the mixed bag.
Mm.
Because what happened to January was the first week of January, I was down. I was down and out completely because I had gotten sick with a flu
I remember
that week. So I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be in bed. I just didn't want to do anything. So then after that, I kind of just got into it like that, that drift you sometimes get when you're on break.
Mm-hmm.
And plus my voice was still trying to come back, so I had to wait till my voice came back from being sick to finally start recording something. And I didn't want to be coughing every 5 seconds on recordings. Or else that's just a lot of editing and post.
Yeah,
so it's like
yeah.
I want to get it done. I wanted it to get it done. I actually wanted this playthrough to be done before I went back to my spring semester at college. Obviously, that didn't end up happening.
Yeah.
Because of just everything in between, with not just my voice and everything, but just sometimes there was a lack of motivation to even get started again. You sometimes get that when you're just, chilling and stuff. So it was kind of just a mixed bag with the playthrough. While we're both very happy that we did it, in some respects, we kind of we don't regret it at all. It's just we see some things with it and we're just like, it was just whatever in some points.
Yeah, this was by far the most consistently professional thing at least I've ever done. And this was something that I had to get used to. When you work with other people, you're gonna have to make compromises. You're gonna have to make some sacrifices. From my perspective, I was taken to a bit of a dark place. I was not so great. I wasn't so happy with how things were progressing simply because I wanted it to be done. I wanted to be done with the game, and I wasn't a huge fan of how slowly we were progressing. But honestly, I still loved the playthrough. The playthrough was absolutely worth it in the end. Being able to experience a Pokemon game with someone else is brilliant. Right? Because Pokemon is already a game about connection. Pokemon is already a series that is supposed to bring people together and experience things together. However, the
Right.
story is not something that people are able to experience together nearly as much. So being able to do a blind playthrough with someone else there the whole way through, you're able to bounce off each other, you're able to experience things together, you're able to share the same jokes. Honestly, it was amazing. It made the game so much better for me because the game has its flaws, but that didn't matter nearly as much when I was able to experience it with someone.
Right. Segueing with the word story, why don't we finally segue into one of the major parts of the game? Since we've only been talking about the personal experience with the playthrough, and trust me, there's more to talk about with that. We will get more into that in just a little bit, because trust me, there was a point where I wanted to just quit the series. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But first, I think since you did mention story, we might as well mention the story of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which can be complicated, especially for a gameplay perspective, because with the story in this game, it's not just your one and done gym story like it's been with every other generation. This story was divided into 3 separate segments, being the Victory Road,
The Starfall.
Starfall, the Starfall Street,
Yep.
and then I forgot what the Titan one's called. Off the top of my head.
Legends.
Path of Legends.
Path of Legends, yes.
That's it. So from a gameplay perspective, you have 3 different branches to go off of. In a story concept, that's pretty cool, because this is something that Pokemon's never done before. We're dividing a story into 3 separate segments to all, eventually combine together.
Yep.
But at the same time, from a gameplay perspective and for a co-op series, it's kind of it's kind of like a
hell.
Disaster. It was such.
It was horrible.
Because you have to try and divide gameplay between getting gym badges, doing the Titans, and doing the Starfalls, all on a basis. It was generally you didn't know what to do each episode. You literally had to plan out every episode in terms of which gyms you're doing, which Titans you're doing, which Starfalls you're doing in that episode. And sometimes, as you saw, sometimes we did 2 gyms in one, or even we were originally gonna do 2 Starfalls in one, but we kind of mixed that up with a couple other things. That's just because the planning was not a mess. It was just, it felt like a mess.
Yeah, it was difficult how we were supposed to pair everything together, especially since when we went into this blind, we went into this very blind, right? We thought we didn't expect it, but we thought, hey, they mentioned you can go in any order you want, you could do it how you want. There's 3 different paths, they all are equally matter. You have to do all 3 in order to get to the same ending, but you could do it how you want. That was a lie. That was a fucking lie. So they wanted us to go anywhere we wanted, but Grush is level 55. And Katie is level 14. So you could go wherever you want, but you can't do Grusha first because you're level 5. So what are you supposed to do there? You're supposed to do how you want and just go straight to Atticus? No! We kind of did. But no, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go Katie, Brassius. You're supposed to go Katie, Brassius, Iono, Mela, so on and so forth. But how would you know that if you play through the game blind?
You wouldn't. You absolutely wouldn't. We literally, during the playthrough, okay, we figured this out after we beat, I think it was Iona, we figured this out. Or Atticus. It might have been Atticus.
It was Atticus.
Yeah, it was Atticus. We figured out, because what we were planning to do is, it makes sense to go in the clockwise motion. Just go clockwise around the map. There you go.
It was,
bada boom, there's the order right there.
We went counterclockwise, by the way. Sorry.
No, we started. Oh yeah, you're right. Right. Counterclockwise. We figured, we'll go a counterclockwise motion. Everything's in the the exact order that we want it to be. It's gonna be great. after Atticus, Gallo went ahead and researched all the levels, and we figured out we messed up. We
Mm-hmm.
did the gyms in a completely different order. We did Brutus and Iona first. Now, we got lucky with them being lower level, but we also got unlucky with both the Fire-type Starfall base
Yep.
and the Poison-type Starfall base. As you know, Gallo lost to the trainer originally in the Fire-type base, and I lost to Atticus my first time versing him.
Yeah, we should have known something was wrong when I got swept by a Houndour. We should have known, but we didn't care. We simply thought, hey, this game is going to more lengths to be difficult. This is fantastic. It's fantastic. I love this. It's absolutely great. No,
We were dead
we
wrong.
simply skipped Katie, skipped Bombardier, and just went we skipped Katie. We skipped Katie, Bombardier, and Guy Como and went straight to Mela. So like, what else was I supposed to do other than just die to a Houndour because we were not supposed to be there yet? It was frustrating, but eventually we figured it out. I spoiled myself a bit, but honestly, the game was so much better afterwards. Other than that one episode where we sweeped 3 story plots. Rest in peace to Katie.
Which has become one of the most popular episodes of the co-op playthrough.
Yeah, apparently people like sweeping.
Apparently so, because
And
that was
fuck-ups.
all in episode 8
Yeah.
of the Pokemon co-op Scarlet and Violet co-op playthrough. It was just crazy. But okay, going off the co-op playthrough for a second, the story, honestly, it was much more in depth than a regular Pokemon game. Like, okay, maybe not as in depth as like, say, okay, you know what? I was gonna say like Black and White, but like this even has even darker tones than Black and White. So what did I say?
Yeah.
But honestly, dividing it into 3 paths, I think, was a little bit excessive. Not like over excessive, but I feel like it was a little excessive because you had to do all 3 in order to get to the final story beat.
Yep.
But I think the paths with each, like how to do them and what you learn from each of them, I think is really cool because it delves into basically everything for everything. Except the gym path. You obviously know what's going to happen with the gym path. That's basically with your rival, Nemona, and all that. But then you have Path of Legends where you don't know it until you beat the second Titan, but you're helping the guy whose name is Arvin. You're
Yes.
helping him regain his Mammostiff strength with the Herba Mysticus. You don't know that until the second Titan.
Oh, that was so sad.
We didn't know that, and we were like, "Oh my god, that was just intense."
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, the Arvin story was the main story of the game. Let's be honest, Arvin was the main of the game in terms of his story.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, he was absolutely the MVP of that story. And like, okay. So in terms of story, Arvin was absolutely the MVP. He carried the plot, I feel like. But then when it comes to the battles, the gyms, nah. Most of the gyms were easy. I don't think any of them took us more than one try.
The only one that was like challenging to us was the normal type gym because it was actually competent.
Yeah, Larry. Yeah, but even then we both beat it first try.
Oh yeah, no, we
But
never had a problem.
we had, I don't know if it's because we did things out of order, but we had a much, much harder time against Team Starfall.
Oh yeah.
Team Starfall was our hardest of the 3 story plots. Because Mela, you know, I whited out on the guarding grunt before you even get into the actual minigame.
Yeah.
And like, but and then Atticus, I only beat Atticus and Mela because of X items and healing. That's all. That's the only reason why I won. They're like, Septella visually skipped it in his playthrough, but for Atticus, there's just a speed up of me just spamming X defense speeds and attacks and just sweeping because I couldn't survive otherwise.
Yeah.
I was getting beaten to a pulp. Oh man, it was something else. Something else. But yeah, no. Scarlet and Violet was like the most strange but honestly, one of the best experiences I've had with a Pokemon game.
Right. And we didn't even we delved into the 3 story beats with by the way, the Team Star story, honestly, pretty good. Like, figuring out who Cassiopeia is in the end, that we technically already saw her before. I'm not going to really I guess I won't spoil it. If
It
you
is
haven't
I. This is the best. This is the best I will say. It is I. I am Cassiopeia. I am Cassiopeia, and I am also Clive. Yeah. No. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. You don't. You're not. You didn't fool me once. You ain't gonna fool me twice. Yeah. No.
Speaking of the story as well, when we did the story, we did something that we did in the Undertale playthrough, where me and Gala voiced like the actual characters.
Von
Oh my
Veluza.
God, it was...
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was the best thing ever.
Oh man.
Like,
Yeah. Go watch clips from the playthrough if you want to see some wacky cringe, but also kind of hilarious voice acting. Yeah,
this guy made me voice a kid, for Christ's sake.
Well, the thing, I actually want to mention that. The thing is about the voices, once I realized who some of the characters were, how important some of the characters were through getting spoiled on accident. For example, I knew who Cassiopeia was earlier on, and I realized I voiced the person who Cassiopeia was, but he voiced Cassiopeia.
The phone version of Cassiopeia.
So it's like, so okay, how do I balance the voices out in order to give us a more even amount on who voices who? I'll give him the lolly.
He gave me pretty much all the Elite Four except one and the champion.
Yeah. I gave him like the entirety of the champion assessment except for Gita and Rika. So I gave him all of that because I had Arven, I had Penny, I had Clavel and Clive. Like,
and you had most of Team Star. You had Gaia Como, Mela, and who
Ortega.
Yeah. Ortega.
So I kinda had to give him the entire league assessment because I had half of the Legends plot. And I had almost all of the majority half of Team Star. So he had to have something. So I gave him all of the champions assessment. And we had equally half the gyms. Yeah.
And as the gyms, we just halved it. Because this guy wanted to voice Grusha so badly.
Okay. Is it time to mention that? So,
you know what? Absolutely. This man, I mentioned it on the video too. This man, the entire playthrough, pretty much from when we started to when we got to that point, didn't shut up about seeing Grusha.
Listen. During the reveal cycle, I saw a pretty boy, okay? I couldn't hold back on it. Listen, he's pretty. He's awesome, right? He had such a calm demeanor and was so pretty. I was like, dude, I need to meet this character. Why is he a skater boy? Why is he a skater boy? Why is he a lame, empty skater boy? I don't get it. I'm so disappointed. Like, what?
One more thing to mention about that before we got to the gym. This is funny. Trust me. Gala here wanted to find an exact place to take a picture.
Listen. I was like, okay, if there's a place where Grusha stands idly, I'm going to take a photo with that, and that'll become my trainer card. That didn't happen. None of the gym leaders have that, and I was sad. But honestly, once I realized who Grusha was, I was like, okay, never mind. I was like, nah, whatever. I'm over it. His
favorite character became Ortega. Trust me, he was Ortega.
Okay, so like going from one feminine male to the other, I don't know. I swear I'm not straight up just gay. I swear, okay? But listen, Ortega, right? Ortega is really, really cool. They're very, I think pompous is the word. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. You could lash me in the comments, I don't care. But Ortega is a fantastic character, right? Kind of pretty, kind of cool. Really love his personality. Like, he's not necessarily mean, but he's kind of like standoffish in a more fun way. But what sucks about how Ortega was introduced into the story, Ortega doesn't really have much of a role. Being what you're supposed to do as the last Starfall member, they didn't really have too much to do with anything. I believe they weren't even the one that created the outfits, were they? I believe that was Atticus. What did they do? What was their contribution?
Oh wait, I remember that he was the technician.
He was the they had a technician.
He created the Starmobile.
Yeah, but at the same time, so did Guy Gummo.
No, Guy Gummo did the music.
Just the music.
Just the music.
Oh man, but I don't feel like Ortega's role was like cemented. And one thing is that the fan base has collectively ignored Ortega. So with me being the person who loves underappreciated underdog characters, Ortega immediately became my favorite characters in Scarlet and Violet. Absolutely, by far. Favorite character, Scarlet and Violet. I'm saying it here. Because I love Lucario in Smash Bros. Because he's also kind of underrated. In fact, he's kind of hated. But that's a completely different tangent.
Right.
But I love Ortega.
Right.
Number one.
Honestly, for me, character-wise, I really haven't really decided on my favorite character. I do like some of the characters. I do. Like, I think some of them were cool. Like Rhyme, for example. The ghost type gym leader. I think she's cool.
Yeah. He loved voicing her.
You voiced her.
I did? Rhyme?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That was gym number 6. You did the even gyms. I did the odd gyms.
I had to voice a rapper. Why did I voice her?
It's so weird. Because gym 2, 4, 6, 8. I was doing 1.
Oh,
2,
yeah,
3,
because Psyche Gym was the 7th
3,
gym.
7,
I always forget
5.
that. They're so close to each other. Montevera and the Glassado gym is so close to each other, despite the fact that the 7th gym is at the bottom left of the map.
Yeah.
I don't get that. So I get that mixed up so often. I don't know. But you ended up liking a character you didn't get to voice. That's a shame.
Did. I mean, I honestly do like also Nimona. I think she's a pretty good rival. Not like compared to others, but I think she's a good rival.
Yeah, I think she's much better than the rivals we've been getting. Because How is okay. Honestly, Lily was better. She wasn't even really a rival, but her and Gladion, which is an actual rival from Gen 7, is actually far better than How. And Hop is, I hate to say it, kind of nothing. In my opinion, I simply do not think Hop is much more than, man, I want to beat you. I'm depressed. I'm going to stop fighting and just become a professor. Good for you, but I didn't feel anything. But then the Nimona was a nice breath of fresh air. She's already a champion. Like, she is a champion. And she follows you through your journey, slowly buffing up her team to challenge you every single time. And it was so cool. It was a concept I never thought they would do. Oh man, it was awesome.
Yeah, if they can actually get the concept of level scaling. Going back to the story for a second. I remembered something very, very... I know how we talked about difficulty for a second, how we didn't have any trouble at any point. I thought we were going to have trouble with all the endings. Because all the story endings are all mixed up. Let me put it to you in perspective. The Arven ending, the ending to Path of Legends, you fight Arven one last time before the post-game. His team is high level 50s to high levels, like lower level 60s.
Wasn't it? Yeah, it was just straight up like end of 50s, start of 60s, like that whole fight.
We were level 55 when we did it. We still both won, but what was with that level jump? And then the final battle, the Team Star story was all at level 62.
Mm-hmm.
And then Champion, like through the Elite Four, it's about level 50s to level 60s. Okay, fine. We were about that level. And then, like, Champion Geta, who's a joke of a battle, by the way. Oh my god, we hated her battle. She was so freaking easy for a champion. Her team made no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, she sucked ass.
The Mona was level 65 compared to Champion Greta. She was more of a challenge than Champion Greta.
So
I mean, we still won, but still.
Yeah. So apparently, from what I've seen in like watching other people's playthroughs of the game and reviewing the game, what you were actually supposed to do is you were supposed to go straight for the Champions Assessment, do the whole thing, beat Gita, and then you would go fight Arvin, go fight Penny, go fight Nimona, go to Area 0. We didn't do that right.
And we somehow still got
beat it all. But honestly, it made the ending much sweeter because the fights were a bit more challenging because we did them out of order. We did the Champions Assessment second to last. So doing Penny and Arvin first made it a lot easier. Nope. Made it a lot more challenging. And honestly, both of us, I believe, had a lot more fun out of it. We got a lot more fun out of it compared to if we just did Champions Assessment and did the right order around. And then Nimona was a great challenge afterwards. So honestly, it was great all around. Honestly,
but we haven't talked about the best part of the story, the final story of Scarlet and Violet. I think it's called Way Home.
Yeah, The Way Home. The Way
Home. Oh my God, The Way Home is one of the best endings to a Pokemon story in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Arguably,
you know what? I'm going into spoiler territory.
Yeah, we have already done that.
I'm doing this. All right. So in the final story of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, The Way Home, you find out that the entire time, the professor you've been seeing, which is Professor Sada for Scarlet and Professor Toro for Violet, you find out the whole time that professor is not a human. That's an AI created by the professor, because the original professor from your game is dead. Like, dead.
The AI wasn't created because they were dead. The AI was created to carry out their research alongside them as a more of like a kind of like an assistant. But then in a tragic accident, when bringing some Paradox Pokemon to the present, they died in the process. Leaving the AI professor all alone, forced to carry out the plan, which is why which is why more and more Paradox Pokemon started just appearing everywhere, and that was a concept that they've never dared to do. I'm sure we've had death, for example, the Ghost Girl story that is ongoing in every generation always has to do with a dead girl. That stuff is dark, but like Arvin is sitting in the other room. His dad/mom is dead. And the other one's doing fuck all in some other timeline.
Just to see how the professor was not to just read the dialogue of hearing that the professor is dead and AI basically replaced them. And then the gut-wrenching right after you figure out the professor's an AI, you go down to a special time machine where you insert the book of either Toro or Sada, which initiates an epic battle where the professor only uses Paradox Pokemon, which was one of the coolest battles we've had in a long time as well. We'll talk about battling in just a second in terms of how we thought about battling. But oh my God, it was, and we'll talk about the music as well. Don't worry, we'll get to that. We know it's already been going on a long time because we've been going on separate tangents, but trust me, we'll get to that. We'll get to everything before we end this. So then you have an epic battle, and once you defeat the AI, everything starts like shutting down. Like you successfully did. You defeated the professor, and now the time machine's been deactivated. Then you start getting a little bit more of a cutscene with Arvin. He's starting to realize that you're not my parent. You're somebody else. Who are you? And just the gut-wrenching dialogue of the AI professor to Arvin sounding like the actual parent. It just kept going, and it was just like, oh my God, Arvin, why do you have to go through this? And then you're not even done, because right after, like a little bit into that cutscene, you figure out that the protocol's not done.
Nope.
The protocol terrorizes the professor. Literally, terrorization comes across the professor, and you battle the protocol in one final battle, where you get to use the legendary Koraidon and Miraidon against their own Koraidon and Miraidon, and it's so epic, and then you get to terrorize, and it's just, oh my God, mind blown.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was all insane. And that theme, at least he and I had that on repeat for like the first few days after that fight. That was some of the best music I have ever heard. Toby Fox, you are a genius. And
Oh,
Game Freak
absolutely.
better keep having you on their music team because that was a masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece. I
Now
love
we're not
that.
talking about the second battle with the protocol, the defense protocol. We're talking about exactly the first battle where you fight the professor with their paradox
Yeah, where you
Pokemon.
fight the AI.
Right. That's what we're talking about specifically
The
with that.
AI where it's overcome by its initiative before the initiative gets overridden by the protocol.
And after you defeat that protocol, you get one final scene where basically the AI leaves the time, like the literal timeline, to either go to the past or the present, or past or future, in order to basically stop the time machine. And once again, it's just another hard hit to Arvin, and you just feel it. You feel it. And that's what's so great about this ending to this game. You actually feel it. To
Mm-hmm.
feel the emotion, to feel like Arvin's feeling. I mean, yeah, not much of the other characters react as much as Arvin does, but at the same time, you still see what he's going through. And honestly, that's the great thing of storytelling, where you can actually give the audience the same emotion that the character is giving to at the same time.
It was at a point where Arvin actually genuinely was like, I don't care if you're not actually my parent. I don't want you to leave. You don't leave. Do not leave me. That hit hard. Like you couldn't see my face, but I was on the brink of crying. Okay? Like I loved that to bits. Oh man, it was so good. By far, in my opinion, the best story to a Pokemon game.
Oh yeah,
The
hands
best.
down, hands down. So
Sure, I haven't played Black and White 2 yet, but I genuinely believe even after I play that, I don't think the ending to Scarlet and Violet will get trumped by any ending for a long time.
oh yeah, no.
The graphics are terrible. The art style is questionable, but the
Yeah.
story does not miss.
Segueing into, so now I think we basically have done the story section of our little thing here. Speaking about graphics and stuff, this game came out buggy,
Mm,
like really buggy. Like out of every Pokemon game we've ever gotten in the past few years, this one came out buggy,
yeah,
buggy, and it really was unfinished. Like this game was not meant to be released. I don't think, in
not
my
yet.
personal opinion. I think a little bit more time was needed. I don't want to go on this too long because we still have a decent amount left to talk about. But honestly, I would say that it can be out of control sometimes, and the lag. Oh dear lord, the lag.
Oof,
Oh,
yeah. This game had a lot of issues going for it. It had a lot of issues on release. And since, like we mentioned at the start of this is currently Pokemon Day, and we did just get patch notes. They reduced the spawns of Pokemon and messed with the formatting and the layering of the raid battles to try to fix some of the lags and the glitches and the crashes. And I definitely noticed the reduce in spawns, but not so much the improvement to lag. I noticed that my game didn't lag nearly as much. Subtel, unfortunately, still lagged. I don't know where they
a, li-
were,
a little bit. I think I
but
was in one of the desert areas.
yeah, but I do think that the game improved a bit. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that I did notice at least a minor improvement. And the fact that the DLC is getting postponed to like fall and winter versus the summer and winter they did for Sword and Shield probably means they're more so focusing on fixing Scarlet and Violet, which is something that I greatly appreciate.
Oh yeah.
Um, I don't know when I'm gonna get to finishing my Scarlet, but I might wait until some of those improvements are out because yeah, the game needs some work.
Right.
But I think all in all, I would if I were to give Scarlet Violet a score out of 10, it would honestly be about a solid 7, 7.5, maybe even 8. but I would say 7 is safe because those graphics and the way that was balanced and the effort it takes to get to the good story is really high. So I think it wouldn't be fair for me to rate it higher than a 7, personally.
Right. But I mean, hey, speaking of more aesthetic stuff compared to just graphics and stuff, which honestly I feel like some parts of the game actually looked all right.
Oh
Like in
yeah.
Area Zero, for example,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
that
that
was
looked
great.
really cool. But we only talked about a little bit about the music. How did we both generally think about the music for Scarlet and Violet as a
Oh.
whole?
Oh, the whole thing was great. All of it was wonderful. There wasn't a theme that was a complete miss for me. I loved all of it. It was great. Like,
Right.
dude, oh my lord. Even the themes that weren't worked on by Toby, like the other composers that worked on this game are wonderful. They know their music and
Oh
it
yeah.
shows.
Yeah, absolutely. The genres they put into this game was honestly really cool. Like I said, some of my favorites personally was like the AI professor theme. I could rave about that all day. But another theme I can rave about pretty much as much as that theme is the Team Star boss theme. Oh my god, does it sound good! It's pumped with energy. The guitar, it's such an awesome theme, especially battling like the Star Mobiles and stuff. You feel pumped. You feel awesome. It's just a great experience. And some of the other themes too, like the Gym Leader theme, the Nimona themes that play, the Arben theme, they're all really good, which is something that's been consistent with every generation for the past few years, which is fantastic to see.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Oh,
now, besides music as well, with the battling, we kind of mentioned already, like the battle system is basically not changed. It
yep.
hasn't changed in a little while now. It's kind of like the same as like Legends Arceus in a way, but kind of not. It's kind of like main series combined with Legends Arceus a little bit, but it's still like a basic Pokemon game in terms of take turns and whatever. With this generation actually introducing a new type of battling system, which was the auto battle system, which
Meh.
is fine.
I didn't use it very much.
It's fine if you're a shiny hunter.
Yeah. It was good for
Like, as
outbreaks.
in yeah, exactly. So, like, I see, like, where they were coming from with the auto battle system, but at the same time, meh. And also in terms of the terrorizing phenomenon and everything like that, it's alright. It's like it's something cool. It's basically been the gimmick for, like, Mega Evolution Z moves and Giant Dynamax that they've been
Yeah,
doing for the last
regional
3
gimmicks, yeah.
generations. I think terrorizing is fine.
Yeah.
It's not, like, perfect. It still has a little bit of stuff that I'm not, like, I feel like it's cool that they actually changed the types of the Pokemon mostly, which is something that really hasn't happened much besides Mega Evolution. So
Mhm.
that's really cool in concept, and that lasts for, not like it's not like a one-time thing. It lasts for the rest of the battle until the Pokemon faints, of course. I don't know. It's just it's cool, but at the same time, it's meh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's not a whole lot to say about it, but it wasn't so bad either. Yeah, I think what I definitely want to talk about to cap off this whole discussion is battling, but not just any battling. Uh our fights, cuz that is
Right.
a whole beast. We have
I
I'm
think
surprised we haven't
we're
even touched on that at all.
well. There is something else we haven't touched on at all that I'm surprised we were just getting to it. We never mentioned anything about the actual Pokemon themselves this entire time.
Okay, okay. Well, let's discuss the Pokemon relating to our team, why we decided the Pokemon we chose, and we'll go from there. I think the rest of them are meh. Not the rest of them are meh. Whoa. The rest of them are cool. I didn't really have a whole lot of issues with anything. I don't really think we need to get too into the other Pokemon. I think definitely for sure, mentioning our story team is definitely something that we should definitely do because some of our picks are very interesting, and the history
Right.
behind them is very interesting too. So before we explain our teams, there was a system that we had in place that was explained in episode 1, but not really much afterwards. We
Right.
had a claiming system where, for example, if I caught Wooper, he can't catch Wooper. Since he caught Fido, I couldn't catch Fido or Dashbun or anything like that. I couldn't ever use them unless he gave them up or gave the claim to me. For example, in one of the early episodes, like episode 3 or 4, I claimed Charcadet.
Target.
Even though I already have a fire starter, so I was like, okay, never mind. I'll put that away, and then he took it. By far one of the worst decisions I made, because wow, Armarouge is scary. But so Fuecoco. Let's just start with Fuecoco, right? So Fuecoco, I was super duper happy about the starter I chose. At the start, I was like, okay, I'm going Fuecoco. It's going to evolve to this big fat beast, and I'm going to be happy. It didn't. It evolved into a slender skeleton crocodile singer, not so singer, because the bird on his nose actually sings and not him. It's hard. It's difficult. I don't really get it.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you with that. When I first saw you evolve to that, I'm like, what in the world? It turns into that thing? That thing looks sick. I was kind of a little envious myself when I saw it. Like you said, you were envious with mine. I was envious with your final starter's evolution. Like, oh my gosh, that looks so cool.
We were envious of each other's starters, pretty much. Like once we both evolved them all the way, we were like, no, we want each other's starter.
Basically,
we just couldn't really do that. So we're like, okay, it's fine. We're way too far in the game to like be like, no, let's trade starters. No.
Yeah,
but basically,
exactly.
that was kind of our feeling with the whole thing. I love my Skeledirge. He loves his Meowscarada. But honestly,
Right.
if the roles were reversed and I had Meowscarada and he had Skeledirge, we would not complain. We would not complain.
Probably not. I only picked Sprigatito because honestly, with Pokemon, I like cat Pokemon. Even though I'm not really a big fan of cats in real life, I love cat Pokemon. And Sprigatito is just so dang adorable. Plus, it was grass type. You can't beat that. And when it evolved into like Florigato, I'm like, oh my god, this thing looks so sick. Then Masquerada happened, and I was like, oh, huh. I still loved my starter. I mean, Flower Trick is such a great move.
Mhm.
You know, I generally loved using my starter, but at the same time, I was like, ugh.
But Pooper Wooper.
Yes, Pooper
Pooper Wooper. Okay, listen here, folks. Right. So I absolutely love Paldean Wooper. But the thing is, when I saw him in the reveal cycle, when I was looking through the reveal cycle, because Pooper Wooper was one of the only things I saw, I was like, okay, it's Wooper. Great, this is cool. It's a new form. Since it's a form early on, it's probably gonna have a new evolution or a new type of Quadsire. I was like, okay, cool, nice, good addition. But then I saw it, and for some reason, it's just like, no, Pooper Wooper. That is mine. That is mine, and I love him. I don't know why. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the memes, but I became obsessed with him. And Clodsire, I love Clodsire, but for some reason, Clodsire is just so weak. So weak. I don't know what it is, but I love him to death. I love his design. I love the concept. I love the typing. Why is he weak? Come on, Game Freak.
At the same time, with Paldean Wooper, I had went ahead and caught a Fido. Now, at the time when I caught Fido, I kind of just wanted something to claim. Because y'all already had one, and I didn't have one, so I'm like, oh, Fido, I remember seeing this in the trailer. I kind of liked it. Why don't I go ahead and catch it? And then I started using it more, and I'm like, okay, this thing's actually not that bad. And then it evolved into the beautiful and amazing, lovable puppy we all know as Brittany the Dash Bun. Oh my god! Brittany became an MVP towards the end of the game. Like, seriously, if you look at some of my end battles, Brittany was there to clean up shop when I needed it to. I have no idea why Brittany was so good towards the end of the game, but oh my god, Dash Bun has become one of my favorites of this generation. It is a lovable trait puppy that I can never give away or never be without ever again.
Oh man, Palmy, right? This was yet another trailer Pokemon I saw, right? I liked Palmy. I liked the concept, but like everyone else, I didn't think it was going to evolve. So I kind of was like, whatever. And then I found out that it evolves. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I was like, okay, screw it. I want another Pokemon. I'm picking it up. I picked up the Palmy. I was like, okay, let's give it a try. And honestly, Pawmot is one of my favorite Pokemon. Definitely top 10 in this generation, for sure. I love Pawmot. Pawmot is so cool. I named him Snuggles, and I love her. That's a her. It is a her, yes. I named her Snuggles, and I love her. My entire team is female besides Burns. But yeah, I loved using my Pawmot. Pawmot is really cool. The Revival Blessing is such a unique move. I love the fact that revivals could be used in the competitive scene. I know most people hate it, but it's really cool. Honestly, I like it a lot. And it definitely came in handy for sure.
Going on to my next Pokemon, this Pokemon was based off something that happened on my stream. So I started streaming about last year, in the year 2022. My good friends, he's called the Analyst. He had given me this meme with the Pokemon known as Cloth. It was like just this little meme, like when somebody has memes, blah blah. It's just its eyes, and I'm just like, you know what? I have to use this when I don't have my camera on for breaks. So every single time I turned off my camera, it was just Cloth looking, and it was great. It was hilarious. Trust me, it was hilarious at the time. But after that, I'm like, you know what? Now that I'm doing that, I kind of need to put Cloth on my team from that reason. So towards like episode 4, I added Cloth to my layout, and Cloth was interesting because in the beginning Cloth was amazing. Like Cloth was like, just being a beast and helping me out in a lot of battles. Towards the end of the playthrough, I noticed Cloth used less and less and less because looking at its moveset and anything else it had, it basically was just a Pokemon I would use if I really needed to. Which I'll delve into a bit with Cloth in terms of his biggest moment of the entire playthrough. But still, I still love Cloth to this day. I think he's one of my favorite Generation 7 Pokemon. I just feel like
Gen
preference...
9. Gen 9.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going crazy, okay? Favorite Pokemon is Gen 9, honestly. I love Cloth to death. But I feel like his battle prowess could have been better from what he had. But honestly, I just love Cloth all the same. I'll talk about his biggest moment in like maybe a couple more minutes. But yeah.
Now, my next 2 members were actually kind of an interesting case, because by this point, my team was getting swept by an Armarouge. So I was like, okay, I've got to figure something out here. I've got to figure out a solution to this Armarouge problem. So my next Pokemon was Arboliva. I don't think I don't even know if I'm saying the right name right. The
evolution
Arboliva. There we go. Arboliva. I was using Arboliva, and the thing is, I saw Smoliv. I kind of ignored it. It was like, okay, cool. We didn't even go to the west side until we started speed running through the earlier badges because we skipped them. So, and I saw Smoliv. I was like, you know what? I want this on my team. So I did. I put it on my team. And immediately I was like, wait, it's got a grass Terra type. That's not good. So I went ahead and went to Medali and spent the 50... I spent the 50 normal shards you get to change his Terra type to normal type. So it's like, screw this. I am not dealing with that. I am not dealing with that bullshit. No way. So I changed its Terra type, and it's honestly been pretty good. It's one of the few Pokemon that I actually maxed out its appropriate stats, so it was kind of powerful.
Okay, so this is my next member. So I actually revealed getting this member at the beginning of an episode. I think it was like episode 5 or 6. I ended up going to catch a Gimmighoul. Because originally in the trailers, when I saw Gimmighoul for the first time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I like this Pokemon. Like, I actually genuinely like it. Compared to other Pokemon I've seen, I've actually liked Gimmighoul. So I decided once I found it, I'm just going to catch it. Flat out. Now, when Murderghoul was a Gimmighoul, dear lord, it was not good. Like, genuinely, Gimmighoul was just a support mon for pretty much, like, almost half the game. It was kind of ridiculous, and honestly, I was debating on whether I wanted to keep it or not. since, for how its battle prowess was at that point. But then this guy here said to keep it. Like, I kept on doubting it. He said keep it.
Yeah. I had
And so,
revealed the Pokedex to myself by this point, and I saw what Gimmighoul evolved into. I was like, Sceptile, you are not you are not putting this away, no matter what you do. Stick with it, and you will not be disappointed.
So a few battles went by. I still had the Gimmighoul like towards like the second battle, and obviously it didn't do well. So finally, I decided before one of our battles, I said, you know what? I'm done having a Gimmighoul. I want to finally evolve this thing and see what it's really about. So before one of our recordings, I spent a ton of time just grinding Gimmighoul coins. I just got one after another, and finally had all 999 Gimmighoul coins. And god damn it was so worth it. Goldango is so strong. It's not even funny how strong this Pokemon is. Like, legit, Gimmighoul / Murderghoul was a beast towards the end half of the game. It just didn't care. It just swept things. It was amazing. I never thought that. I'm glad I didn't give up on Gimmighoul, because if I did, I would have never had a Pokemon like Goldango on my party. And for being a Ghost Steel type, mwah, really a good Pokemon. Honestly, I love it.
Now, like I mentioned, the two middle Pokemon of my team were actually built around the fact that my team is extremely weak to Fire and Psychic. So I was like, okay, what other Pokemon could I introduce that would counter this? Because by this point, I knew that we were going to hunt for, Citadel and Frigibax. We'll explain that in a minute. But I was like, okay, what other Pokemon could I have that counters both Baxcalibur and Armarouge? So I got with a good friend of mine. We'll call them Ray, and we were discussing what sorts of solutions we can come up with, because I was stumped. I was like, okay, there's no Pokemon that I could put on my team that counters them both, that would also fit well with my team and also covers my other weaknesses. But then I was like, hey, I kind of like Tinkaton. Tinkaton's kind of a fun Pokemon. Now, how would I use Tinkaton to also counter Armarouge? And then he was like, hey, you know what? There's a wild Terra spawn that is a dark type Tinkatuff. And I was like, yes, we are putting that on my team. So I went out and caught a dark Terra type Tinkatuff. And I was like, yes, this is the solution to all of my problems. And it was, for sure. On top of also being super useful against our fights together, and that'll be explained in a bit. It was so helpful in the story. It swept. Kick-a-ton Hammer is a very, very, very powerful move. I don't know what it is with the steel types in this generation, but they're just so good.
Yes,
so
they
good.
Are. That Tinkaton, man. When I saw that for the first time, which you named Tinkerbell, dear Lord.
It was not any sweet Tinkerbell, I'll give you that much.
Speaking of sweeping, we have my 5th member. Now, originally, I did want to use this Pokemon. But then, towards when it came out, I'm like, okay, maybe I don't necessarily need it. I'll just try to fix something else. And then the Steel type Titan was coming up. And I'm like, I really don't have anything for this thing. I mean, my best Pokemon with a super effective move is a Rock type and could probably just get one-shot by it. So, I was thinking through my options, and I'm like, what do I really have left? And then, again, Gala mentioned that he had withdrawn or unclaimed Charcadet. And I think about it, and I'm like, you know what? The only way I'm going to have a fire type besides the starter or anything else, because the only other fire type I had to choose from was from a fire grass type. Well, I already have a grass type, so that's not really going to work. And that's just going to create another big weakness on my team. So my only other option was to go with the Charcadet. I went ahead and evolved it into Armarouge off video. And Mega Flare was a Pokemon. His special attack was off the charts. And like said, a sweep happened. and it was glorious. But then I did the unthinkable with Armorogue to try and counter Gala's entire team. I, like about Battle 4, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
I changed Armorogue's type from being a psychic fire. Sorry, the Terra type from being fire type to a Terra type of fighting. The reason why was because it could resist most of the other attacks besides maybe Fairy, of course, which was taken to secondary typing. But at the same time, I could have a move super effective against all of his Pokemon and pretty much be resistant to most of his moves, or maybe be neutral damage. And I actually combined my moveset to make it so I could counter every single Pokemon on his team. Armorogue was a damn Pokemon to be messed with. And in the end, Armorogue only did get one big win, but honestly, Armorogue was like one of the best decisions I made for like the entire playthrough.
You might see a trend. I kind of sort of gave him his two strongest members. I kind of sort of like was the reason why he had such an OP team to begin with. And that's gonna go into both of our last members. I'm going to discuss both of them here because they're a pair.
Absolute pair.
We wanted to shiny hunt our last team member because we were like, hey, this game is a lot easier to shiny hunt in. Why don't we just stream it, shiny hunt it, and play through the game with a shiny? Because I definitely wanted to do that. And so did he. So we were like, okay, cool. And then both of us were trying to figure out what sorts of Pokemon we were trying to do. We ended up like discussing what Pokemon would be best for Satal, and I claimed this off camera, off recording, like a Frigibax. I claimed it. I was like, hey, I like Frigibax. Ray told me that I should use Frigibax on my team. It's a good team member. It'll round me out. But I was like, nah, I don't want it. Sceptile, you can have Frigibax. So he's like, okay, I'll shiny hunt Frigibax. So not only did I give him Charcadet, not only did I pressure him to keep going for Gimmighoul, I also gave him the pseudo-legendary
of the game. And shiny hunting Frigibax was one of the most painful experiences I've ever had to go through with a shiny hunt. Because the reason why it was so painful was that I was shiny hunting a blue shiny Pokemon in a snow blue area. Oh my god. It was torture. You literally, the only recognition, you can only recognize it by two little tassels. If they're pink, it's shiny.
Yep.
It was torture. And this guy right here, oh god, this guy. So this guy had gotten a shiny Satado. He got it in the first freaking stream we did for the shiny.
after like the first hour and a half of that stream. It was ridiculous. So I actually didn't tell him what my 16 member was going to be. Because I figured it out, but I was like, hey, what if I just didn't tell you what it was? He's like, okay, great idea. So on the day, right before we started, I was like, hey, by the way, I'm choosing Citadel. The thing is, he completely expected me to choose any Pokemon from any of the 5 provinces. No. I was going, you know what? You're going for an Ice type? I'll go for an Ice type. We both need an Ice type anyway. So I went for Citadel. Now, the reason I actually went for Citadel was because of its affinity for being a different Terra type. It has the ability Thick Fat, which is great against ice and fire types, on top of the fact that it does really, really well with the water Terra type. As you can see, my team does not have a water type. So having a water Terra type was the second best I can go for. Neither of our teams had water types because there's not enough water types in the game. But he did not know I was going to Terra type for a while. But I got that shiny super quick. There's a video on my channel. You should watch it.
And then mine happened like, what, 2 weeks later after that?
Yeah, you had to record it eventually. You tried streaming it a couple times, gave up, and just recorded it.
I just was like, F it. I'm just going to record it and see if I can get it. And then I get it on Christmas Eve, before Christmas Eve.
Yeah. You should also watch that video. His reaction is super duper strong. It's great. Love it so much.
So,
man.
Now, basically, with Frigibax. Okay, here was the problem with my Frigibax. When I got it, I had to basically wait until, like, the final battle before I could use its final evolution, which is Max Caliber. Before that, though, he was kind of not a great battler as well. Most of my Pokemon, even though they were, quote, strong, most of them were not great battlers for some odd reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
As a Artifax, it
Mhm.
just it didn't perform
It
well.
just
It
didn't do
mostly
anything.
just
Yep.
faded. Like half the time it was out throughout the entire battles.
Yeah. It was something else for sure. Oh man, do you think it's time to mention these fights? We've mentioned them a couple times over discussing our team. Honestly,
All right, I think we should let's go ahead and start wrapping it up with this final segment of this first ever podcast episode. Let's
yeah,
talk
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
good old one-on-one showdowns between Septile 720 and Gallery
Yeah,
God
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah,
time
yeah, yeah,
ever on
yeah, yeah, yeah. All
YouTube
right, all
and
right, all right. Listen, listen,
everything
listen,
else.
listen, listen. Get over yourself a bit. You're going all YouTube there. Okay.
I'll go on YouTube all I want.
All
You
right.
can't
Okay.
stop me.
Okay. 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 So,
All right. In all seriousness, so there was another rule to this playthrough. Like we said, we had the claim rule, but there was a secondary rule. Basically, been doing this for a while now. We couldn't do it really with the older generations because internet,
yeah.
all that sort of stuff. But when we could, every 2 gyms, we had a battle.
Yep.
Now, these battles were capped at a level cap. So we basically, whatever level we were around, whatever level we could get to in a decent amount of time, that's when we basically battled each other, depending on how many Pokemon we have. Like, we could both have 3, 4, whatever we had in our team at that time. But they had to be equal,
Yep.
basically.
We had to get to the nearest mutual level, and then we would fight. So, now the first fight was that the one I swept. I swept you in that first fight, right?
No, what happened was I was trying to set up into a cloth,
Yep.
and I tried
Workup strat. Yeah,
paralyzing.
yeah, yeah.
But you kept Clodsire in pretty much the whole time, and I wasn't able to take it down till my Terralize was gone.
Yeah, Clodsire was my only fully evolved Pokemon, so I was like, okay, I'll just keep using it, and it worked.
Yeah, and basically that was the end of that battle. That battle really was nothing at all.
That battle was just about nothing. Yeah, that was still during the time we were like severely messing up. Levels were weird. We were just kind of doing stuff. The first fight is usually the fight that doesn't have the most eventful results, especially when we played Ultra Sun and Moon. That first fight was never anything. The second fight, I believe that was the fight where you had Armor Rouge, right?
The second fight. So, with the second fight, I actually did something I don't normally do. I was setting up pretty much the whole battle with Murder Ghoul because I had taught Murder Ghoul both Light Screen and Reflect. So I was basically setting up to have defenses to switch into my Brittany in order to set up a couple workups. After that, I basically switched in to Armorogue, Terrorized, and that was the battle.
Yeah, he just terrestrialized, and my team just
Wiped out.
fell. It just fell over.
One
like a piece
Pokemon
of paper
after
in the wind.
another.
It just wow, gone. That was it. Yeah, but every fight after that, I don't know what it was, but for some reason, I kicked up my game. Right by this point, it was 1-1. I swept him. He swept me. The third fight, I was like, "That's over. I'm winning this." So I was okay. I made my solutions. I got Tinkaton. I had another Pokemon. I believe I had like a Finizen or a Lockix or something. Some temporary members I got replaced with Arboliva and Satitan.
Right.
So I had just received Tinkaton. I think I evolved it to Tinkaton before the fight, even.
You did, yes.
So
yes, you
I
did.
had this Tinkaton, this Pokemon that he barely knew was on my team.
I forgot about Battle 3.
Yeah, Battle 3 is kind of an awkward one. That one kind of just happened during, like, right before or during one of the major breaks we had because he was sick or because of work or whatever. It was one of those weird gray area fights. It was strange, but to the best of my ability that I can remember, I started with Clodsire, and eventually, as soon as I switched to Tinkaton, I terrestrialized and sweeped.
Basically, you swept most of my team. It did go down, but at that point, I was basically almost out of Pokemon at that point. And you
Yeah.
still and you had the Revival Blissful at that time, too.
I brought Clodsire back, I'm pretty sure.
So it was basically a lose-lose situation.
Yep.
So no matter what, I was losing that battle.
Yeah, that fight was a complete sweep on my end. Absolutely. Tinkaton surprised the hell out of him.
Oh yeah.
And that was absolutely the ace in my sleeve, for sure.
Now Battle 4. Battle 4 is where you use the toxic spikes.
Yes.
Because one of the Pokemon were pretty much toxic. But Battle 4 is an interesting battle. Because Battle 4 is where I introduced Fighting type Armorogue.
Mm-hmm.
And Fighting type Armorogue actually almost maybe come back in the battle. Not completely, but I was basically coming back. I took down like 3 of his Pokemon straight with Armorogue. I ended that fight with only 2 Pokemon left from him. The only reason why I had pretty much lost is because Masquerade was already poisoned and Burns was out, so you could tell how that ended.
Yeah, I lost just about everybody except for I think it was Burns and Palmont, I think. I don't know. All I know is I had Burns left. I was actually pushed into a corner because I didn't want to terrestrialize Tinkaton again. Simply because I didn't want to use the same strat twice. I'm glad I didn't because I would have been murked by the fighting Terra type. So
didn't you want to terrorize Oela in that battle? I remember you saying.
I think so. I wanted to terrestrialize Arboliva, but because you terrestrialized Armarouge first, I was like, no, I'm not terrestrializing Arboliva. My strat was going to be terrestrializing Arboliva because that was a strat you weren't going to see. But then you terrestrialized Armarouge and completely threw me off. So I was like, okay, fine. I terrestrialized Burns and it worked out okay. It worked out well enough. It was a decent enough strat. It kills it resists 1 Pokemon and kills 2. It would have worked enough. And it also was decent against your Arctibax. So the fight after that, was that the last one?
The last fight, fight number 5. The last fight that just got released today. Oh my god! That fight! That was just a combination of us max leveling our Pokemon and just doing what we could to win that battle.
Yeah, level of 100 was definitely the best thing I could have suggested for sure.
Honestly, we were 1-1. It was just I KO'd a Pokemon, he KO'd a Pokemon. He. It was just a back and forth the entire fight. And honestly, there were some mind games. I honestly messed up with Armorogue. I had terrorized him earlier, like a little early into the fight, but I messed up with my move choices. If I would have done a little bit better on my move choices, I maybe would have had a slight edge in battle. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely messed up with my moves in that battle with Armorogue. So honestly, that was because of mind games. Like, I was trying to think of all of his previous strategies. And I was like, okay, maybe he'll do that. Maybe he'll do this. And it just never happened.
Yeah.
And it just completely took me off. And you have to realize we were both stressed the entire time that battle. We were out of our minds. We had no idea what was going to happen next in this battle.
I was trying to do my absolute best to try to shake up as much of my strategy as possible. Throughout each of those fights, if you guys watched any of it, right, I used a different strategy every single time, right? I wanted it to be different every single time so that there was no way that Sceptile could predict me and read me and get the edge. I didn't want him to find any way to get the edge over me. So I was like, okay, no. I'm going to send out Clodsire first so that he thinks it's the Toxic Spikes because it worked so well in the previous battle. No. I didn't actually, if you guys don't see my perspective, but I actually didn't have Toxic Spikes at all. I had Toxic and some damaging moves because I actually wanted to use Clodzire's bait because, like I mentioned a little while ago, it was kind of lackluster. So okay, fine, be lackluster, be a bait, so I could see what Pokemon he starts with, so I could try to see at least a bit into what strategy he had in mind. And he sent out Excalibur, so I was okay. That's completely different. But my strategy, I had a few strategies in mind. For example, I mentioned the Titan's type change was very integral for the reason why I picked it. So I actually changed his Terra type to Water. But not only that, I also changed Arboliva's type to Fairy to counter to counter Armarouge. So that I would send out Arbalova, he'd be like, "Oh, fire move, haha, no, I'm a fairy type now." That didn't happen. It's there, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because one after the other, one's getting defeated, the other one's getting defeated, the other one, and eventually it was just left to Titan and Cloth.
Okay, like I mentioned before, Cloth had a big moment in the playthrough, and this was the battle that had it. So, my strategy was not Armarouge. Like, usually my strategy was to go into Armarouge, fighting type Terrorize, and just try to sweep. That wasn't my strategy this time. I still did Terrorize Armarouge, but my final strategy was Cloth, which was called Memes. The reason why Cloth was my main strategy this time is because throughout one of the last episodes, Memes learned a very vital move that could end a battle, if lucky, which was the one-hit KO move, Guillotine. And out of all the lucky things that could have happened in that entire battle, I was down to Cloth when he still had Owaila and Miss Dad left on his party. So I kind of was doing a Hail Mary moment with trying to KO Owaila. And oh my god, it happened. Owaila got one hit KO'd by the guillotine. I don't think I'll ever be able to hit guillotine ever again in my life from that moment. But that moment, my mind was blown that I hit that guillotine at the precise moment. So then the battle turned into a 1v1, of course, with Miss Dad versus Memes, Cloth versus the Titan, and then I can actually give the play-by-play by this little portion of the battle. So, Gala had terrorized Miss Dad into a water terror type. Never expected that in my lifetime. I tried using a super effective Stone Edge because I thought maybe it'll stay an ice type. No, it didn't. So it only did effective damage. Now, Titan, what I didn't know about Titan is it has liquidation. Kala taught it liquidation. And so it hit, but Memes didn't go down immediately. Memes survived the liquidation and got off its angry shell, which, if you don't know, raises a Pokemon's attack, defense, and speed. Attack, special attack, and speed, but lowers their defense and special defense. But then right after that whole thing, it was a final turn. No matter what, in that final turn, either me or Gala was going to win that fight. Miss Dad had the liquidation that was super effective, while Cloth had the guillotine that could one-hit KO.
There was a 30% chance Sceptile would win. There was a 70% chance I would win. The odds were not in his favor, and he tried it anyway. But alas, he lost.
It failed, but you know what? At the same time, you put your all into that battle. I put my all into that battle.
Mm-hmm.
We just had an epic, good old-fashioned rival battle, which is the perfect way to end a playthrough.
Yeah.
That's just perfect. I could have never imagined a battle like that to end a playthrough like that.
Yeah, Scarlet and Violet, that playthrough, when we compare it to all the other personal playthroughs that we've done together with other Pokemon games, which maybe we'll get around to discussing that some other time, but this fight is actually ranked as like one of the highest, most intense fights we've had in comparison to all the rest of the final battles we've had. It's just about all of our final battles have a final fight at the very least. So, and in comparison, this was one of the strongest.
I think honestly, this should probably be ranked number 2.
I believe number 2. We'll explain what number 1 is someday, but
number 1 is an epic battle. Trust me.
This was
that will be a story
top
on
3.
itself. But
this was one of our best fights, top 3 fights of all time, and that was like the best way. Like the ending to Scarlet and Violet's story was amazing, but this was the best way to cap it off. Above all.
Oh yeah. So, yep.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I believe that is absolutely the best way to end this episode.
Overall, final thoughts of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet from everything discussed on my end, because Gallo went into it a little bit. Honestly, it is a bit of a laggy game, a buggy game, and I honestly cannot fully forgive it for that. But due to the nature of how the story is, how it made something new for the Pokemon franchise as a whole, and just overall being able to share this experience with somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
it was honestly a pretty good game. Not like really good, but it was still I still had fun moments with the game. I just feel like I don't know, that it still tips me off a little bit with some parts, but I'll say that Scarlet and Violet is a pretty good game. I don't know if I could rate it, honestly, but I'm just gonna say that final thought, Scarlet and Violet is a pretty good game.
Okay, all right, guys. Thank you for sticking out to the end of this first episode. This is probably going to be very scuffed. I don't even know what's going to be in the background for the YouTube side of things. I don't even know if there's going to be a Spotify. There's nothing much to shout out except for my channel is, of course, Septel720's channel. Every episode that he will be in will also have him featured in the description down below. So be sure to subscribe to us both and like and comment if you want something to say and want this to keep going. There'll probably be a couple episodes coming out, even if you hate it. So kind of, you know. We're hoping for this to be a weekly thing, of course. So come back next week where we discuss random stuff based around Pokemon, Nintendo, and etc. Whatever we feel like talking about. Maybe we'll have a guest someday. I want to just say thank you all for listening / watching, and I hope to see you either in my next video or next week for the next episode. Okay, that's enough. That's enough me blabbing. You guys have a wonderful day and enjoy your time in the grassy terrain. Hope you get some healed. That was terrible. I'll figure out some catchphrase eventually. Bye.
See you guys next time.
Bye.